I've prepared a timeline of His Holiness's last day, and these are the Holy Father's most recent medical records.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're breaking down the rapid-fire series of events that take place when the visible head of the Catholic Church shuffles off this mortal coil.
Our Lord, this is a duty I never thought I'd have to perform. I thought he would outlive all of us.
A night of excitement and a night of firsts. 1.2 billion Catholics rejoice as the 266th Pope is chosen. And what a surprising choice it really was. Jorge Mario Bergoglio is his name. He's the former Archbishop of Buenos Aires. He's the first pontiff from the Americas, first Jesuit Pope, first non-European in almost 1,300 years.
Pope Francis, born Jorge Mario Bergoglio, is the current pope, elected in 2013 following the virtually unprecedented resignation of Pope Benedict XVI. Aged 76 at the time of his ascension to the Holy See, Francis has publicly struggled with health issues for a number of years. Francis has been open about his physical condition, acknowledging recurring knee problems and respiratory difficulties.
This morning, Pope Francis remains in critical condition at Gemelli Hospital in Rome. Doctors say he's receiving high-flow oxygen as part of his treatment for pneumonia in both of his lungs. In its latest statement on the Pope's condition, the Vatican says the 88-year-old underwent more tests Sunday as doctors treat apparent complications from his illness.
These afflictions appeared to come to a head in February 2025, some months after the Pope's 88th birthday, when a seemingly routine hospital visit for bronchitis, which Francis has reportedly been prone to, turned into a battle of life and death. Over the next few weeks, the world, both Catholic and secular, watched with bated breath, praying for the Pope's swift recovery.
All right, we are following breaking news out of Rome, where we are getting an update on the health of Pope Francis. At last word, the 88-year-old pontiff remains critical but stable 11 days after being hospitalized for pneumonia in both lungs.
Francis, who has requested total transparency in terms of his health, was reported by Vatican News to be in, quote, critical condition, in addition to suffering from the early stages of kidney failure. While his condition has fluctuated, the Pope's advanced age and precarious physical state have led many around the globe to wonder what exactly happens when the Pope dies.
Well, as you mentioned, Liz, critical, but is in critical condition, but stable. A few more details. No acute respiratory crisis. We had heard over the weekend, of course, he had had that prolonged respiratory crisis. That was something that he has not had since the weekend. His blood parameters are stable.
It's important to note that the papacy is intended to be held for life, and resigning from one's position is highly unusual. The aforementioned Benedict was the first pope to resign since Gregory XII in 1415. So, yeah, it's just generally not something that's done, very often anyway.
Ad conditionem certam perveni, viris mias, in gravescente etate, non iam aptas esse ad monus Petrinum eque administrandum.
With that being said, the most common way to vacate the papacy is by dying.
Subvenite sancti Dei, occurrite angeli Domini, suscipientes anima meius, offrentes eam in conspectu altissimi.
Once the Pope has taken his final breath, a sede vacante is declared. That's Latin for while the seat is vacant, as declared after the death of Pope John Paul II in 2005. According to a ruling by John Paul II in 1996, the government of the Church is overseen by the College of Cardinals during a vacancy, and almost all decision-making is paused until a new Pope has been elected. However, in the meantime, there's still a lot to do to even get to electing a new pope. The New York Times notes that in the immediate aftermath of a pope's death, the passing is, quote, confirmed by the head of the Vatican's health department and the Cardinal Chamberlain of the Holy Roman Church, who becomes the Vatican's de facto administrator.
I know this is hard for you, but we will have to prepare a detailed statement. Who discovered the Holy Father's body?
I did, Your Eminence.
And then what did you do?
I called the Holy Father's doctor, but it was too late.
Following a brief private ceremony involving the Cardinal Chamberlain, Pope's family, and other church officials, the Pope's apartments are sealed, and his document-sealing fisherman's ring is destroyed. The Times explains that this is to, quote, prevent forgeries. At this point, the Cardinal Chamberlain makes the heavy announcement that the Pope has died to officials and to the public.
And good day. At 2:56 p.m. here in New York, East Coast time, NBC News has confirmed and is adding to the reports of other news agencies at this hour that an incredible journey, an extraordinary life, has apparently come to an end. We are reporting the death of Pope John Paul II at the Vatican. He was 84 years old.
The cardinals then determine when a private or public, depending on the Pope's wishes, viewing will occur at St. Peter's Basilica. A 9-day period of mourning is called, referred to as the Novem Diales, and several masses are held so that the grieving public may come and pay their respects. As per the laws of the Church, the Pope's funeral and burial absolutely must occur in 4 to 6 days after his death. In the lead-up to the funeral, the New York Times explains that, quote, the Pope's face is covered by a white silk veil, and he is buried with a bag containing coins minted during his papacy and a canister with a rogito or deed, briefly listing details of his life and papacy.
There's a profound sense of the rightness of the timing of this. Throughout the Catholic world, tomorrow is Divine Mercy Sunday. This is a devotion that began in Poland, that the Holy Father promoted, that he offered to the entire church around the world as a way to think about the face of God.
Here's where the real excitement begins. With His Holiness laid to rest, it's time to select his successor. As you can imagine, based on what we've told you today, it is a rigid, structured, and highly regulated procedure that occurs behind closed doors. What ensues is the Papal Conclave, derived from the Latin Conclave, or with a key.
Our friend here doesn't have sufficient support amongst our colleagues to be elected Pope.
Well, it isn't over yet.
Well, I'm afraid as far as I'm concerned, it is. So, now the question arises, if I can't win, whom do I advise my supporters to vote for?
This means that during the funeral and burial preparations, the College of Cardinals is also determining when the conclave should take place. Typically, this is 15 days following the Pope's death, although it can be stretched to 20 days if need be. 2 sermons are presented to the cardinals, which occur immediately before and after they are sequestered in the Sistine Chapel so that the voting may begin.
Let us pray that God will grant us a Pope who doubts. And let him grant us a Pope who sins and asks for forgiveness and who carries on.
The cardinals celebrate Mass, pray, sing hymns, and the senior cardinal reads the following oath, quote, and I, insert cardinal's name here, so promise, pledge, and swear, so help me God in these holy Gospels which I now touch with my hand. The pledge is repeated by the other cardinal electors.
Gestor Christum Dominum, qui me judicaturus est, me eum eligere, quem secundum Deum, judico eligi debere.
When we say that the cardinals are sequestered, we're not kidding around. Conclavists are strictly forbidden from communicating with the outside world in any form until a new pope has been chosen. All media is barred, and even Vatican City Wi-Fi is jammed.
Security say they like to test the electronic jammers one last time, Your Eminence.
Well, then they'd better be quick. I mean, is this really necessary, Willie?
Apparently so. They say eavesdroppers can use lasers to read the vibrations on the glass.
Really? Well, let's hope none of our brothers suffer from claustrophobia.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. The voting process is broken down into the pre-scrutiny, scrutiny, and post-scrutiny stages, in which several ballots are held and candidates are eliminated until one has secured a 2/3 majority share of the cardinals' votes. If a ballot is unsuccessful in electing a new pope, then black smoke is expelled from a temporarily constructed Sistine Chapel chimney. If the election is successful, then white smoke is expelled, and in the final moments, the cardinal dean asks the pope-elect if he accepts the position. While the candidate is well within his rights to decline, it is common courtesy to declare this prior to receiving a majority vote. If indeed the Pope-elect intends to serve in his position, he is dressed in a white cassock and presented to the public from a St. Peter's Basilica balcony. The words ring out in Vatican City and into the history books, Habemus Papam, which translates to the English, we have a pope.
I think you should gather up the cardinals' notes. The sooner we light the stoves, the sooner the world will know we have a new pope.
What do you think of the papal election process? Be sure to let us know in the comments below. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.